Okay then, so this one's been a bit of a long time coming, but today we are looking at getting you started with cspect. Cspect is a Spectrum Next emulator. So for those of you who's unsure what a Spectrum Next is, it's pretty much a modernized version of a ZX Spectrum with extra features, better hardware, that type of thing. So in some ways it's a lot like the Commodore 65 clone, that is the Mega 65, and just like the Mega 65, to actually purchase a Spectrum Next is going to cost you in the regions of between £500 to £800 in the UK, of course, on eBay, so they're not cheap. And not many of these are produced. I believe there's a queuing system, and once you're in the queuing system, that's a long process of waiting. So until then, we're going to get you up and running and get you seeing how the ZX Spectrum performs on a Windows PC computer. And the end goal of this is to be downloading some games so you can experience yourself how the ZX Spectrum Next games play. So we're going to go through all of this. Now, just be sure to follow everything I'm going to be doing this setup guide, because things can get a little bit complicated and there's quite a fair few things to be downloading to get this one running. So if you want to know what the ZX Spectrum Next is like, then check this one out. Okay, as always, if you're new to my channel and you like what you see today, hit notifications, subscribe and like. It helps my channel out a lot, and it also gets you up to date everyday emulation videos, setup guides like this one I'm doing today. So everyone's a winner. So what we're going to do then, firstly, is download a few things, and we're going to go first of all to download this, and this is going to be a little file which is going to enable the sound for the Spectrum Next emulator, which is cspect. The reason I've opened this one in Microsoft Edge is that this one will not download in Google Chrome. So if you have issues downloading this, just use an alternative browser. But anyways, I'm going to download this. This is the installer. And if you should get this pop up, then just press on the horizontal lines and go down to keep, and keep anyway. It's a very trusted file used by many people around the world to do what we're doing today. So we've got that file. That's the installer for the sound. And now I'm going to go to Google Chrome and we're going to download the emulator itself, which is cspect. And this one regularly gets updated, and the latest version we're using today is cspect version 2.19.4.4. As we can see, this one released in July this year, 2023 that is. And if we just scroll down a touch here and download it, and there we go, that indicates it's now downloaded. And we're also going to be downloading a tool, which is IamDisk Toolkit. So what this is going to do is pretty much read a image, what we're going to be downloading for cspect and getting this up and running. Otherwise, we could burn this image onto a SD card, and I appreciate nobody wants a spare an SD card if they can help it. So this is from SourceForge. We're going to go to download. And again, just like everything else, everything's very trusted here, no viruses. SourceForge is used all around the world, no complaints. So let's just wait for that one, and there we go. And lastly, we're going to be downloading a image. So if we just scroll down on the ZX Spectrum Next online website again, I'm going to download this cspect Next distribution 16GB SD card image. If I just left click on this link, and again, just like a minute ago, it's likely going to come up as can't be downloaded. Just again, left click on the horizontal lines and go to keep, and keep anyway. And there we go. We now got this one. So we got 4 of these zip files, which we just downloaded. What I'm going to do is just make all this nice and tidy like I do on my videos. So I'm going to right click on my desktop, create a new folder, and I'm simply going to call this one cspect. And I'm going to just drag these zip files inside of this newly created folder, go into the folder, and we're going to start extracting now. So what I'm going to do first of all is extract the emulator itself. So top one here, cspect2. If I just right click on this one, I'm going to be using WinRAR to unzip this. WinRAR extract here. And that's going to generate many files. And the zip file for this is still highlighted. So we're going to just delete this one. And we still got 3 remaining files, of course. So the next one I'm going to look at is this one just here. This is onlist.zip. And this is going to give us sound on our emulator, so we don't have to toggle around with settings. So if you don't already have this one installed, install this one like I'm going to do now. Just double left click on the executable, open AL installer, just press yes if you get a window pop up asking you to make changes, and we're just going to press OK on this, and there it is, simple as that. Installation complete, and we can now delete this executable file. We no longer need that one. So let's head back into that cspect folder that we just created. And the next thing I'm going to extract is the IM disk just here. So again, I'm going to right click on this one and just unzip this one using WinRAR, extract here. And we can now delete this zip file of that disk tool, so just delete this one. Now the image you've just extracted, that tool image, it's just created a folder once we've extracted it, and here it is. So if we just go inside of here, next thing we're going to do is install this Windows batch file. So just double left click on this one, and a little pop-up should come up. Make changes again, just simply press on yes on this one. And here we go. So this is just your average installer to install software. So very simple process of just pressing install on this part. And again, installation finished, very quick stuff. Okay, so once we've installed that program, if we go back to the desktop, you'll see there's 3 shortcuts. For now, let's just double left click on the mount image file just here. And again, make changes to your device, just simply press yes on this one. And this is going to open up IM disk or imdisk. So we're going to head back into that folder again, and we're going to extract that 16 gigabyte image, which we just downloaded. And here it is. So cspect.exe 16 gigabyte.zip. If we just right click on here again and unzip this, I'm using WinRAR and extract here. Okay, so once we've finished extracting, everything now is within this cspect folder. So next thing we need to do is create ourselves a DAT file. So to do this, I'm going to just right click in any space. I'm going to go to new and open a new text document. And I'm going to rename this new text document to next OS, and take away the text at the end. And I'm going to rename this one BAT. And if you change the file name extension, the file might become unusable. Are you sure you want to change it? Just press yes. And as we can see, this has now generated a batch file. So once we generated this Windows batch file, as we can see, I'm going to just right click on it. And in my case, I need to go to show more options, and I'm going to go to edit. So if I left click on edit, this is going to bring us into an editor. And once we've got this open, what I'm going to do is just paste this code inside. So Control and V, and I'm going to leave this piece of code in my description so you can copy and paste this like I've just done. And I'm also going to highlight TBBlue.img and just copy this. So right click, copy. And if I close this down and save, so next up, if we go back into the cspect contents, like I can see here, we're going to look for the 16 gigabyte image, which we extracted just a minute ago. So if I right click on this, we're going to rename this to what I just copied in that batch file editor. So right click on this, show more options, rename. And what I'm going to do is just press Control and V on my keyboard. And just make sure you're going to get 2 images there if you've just done what I've done. Just delete one of these, so we're just left with TBBlue.img, and just press enter. And by the way, we can also now delete this 16 gigabyte image.zip. So just right click, delete that. So let's just go down a little bit and let's open up cspect for now. So next os.bat, if I double left click, here we go, awesome stuff. Okay, so we're now in the emulator itself, as we can see. Welcome to Next ZXOS. So we can delete this welcome screen, so perhaps you don't want to read this every time you boot this up. So to disable this welcome, just press D on your keyboard and any key to exit, and this is going to bring us into the operating system. So with my keyboard, I'm just pressing my cursor up and down, and we're going to go to browse and see what we've got inside. So we got some demos here. If we go into demos, we got lots of demos. So if you're not sure what demos are, they're pretty much people around the world making little demo programs. They're not playable games, they're just demos which shows their skills as coders, programmers. Let's just boot one of these up. If I just go into classics, and I'm going to run it from using the .tap. So machine D .tap, press enter, and select mode to load. So I'm going to obviously use the next mode, +3 mode, so that's N. And if we come out of that, what we're going to do next is take a look which games this has got. So if we go using the cursor key again, that is, go to games, press enter. We got some classic 128 games, some classic 48K games, some next games, and even some ZX81 stuff here. So let's firstly boot up a classic 128K game. And of course, we're still going to look at adding your own games on this system. So for now, let's just take a look what this has got to offer as standard. So classic 128. So let's boot up this one. We've also got a really cool version of Castlevania, which someone ported a little while back. But for now, we're going to open up this Dizzy game. So we got a .dsk and a .tap. Now, .dsk images, they're disk images. So if you've got a choice between .tap, which is cassette image, go for a disk image to .dsk. It's going to be a lot quicker to load up. So just press enter. And disk mounter, mount on which drive. So as it says, press A. A is recommended. So A. And try to boot this disk now. Just press yes on your keyboard. And it boots straight in. And I'm going to randomly select one of these games. I've never played one of these in my life, but let's check out Warhawk. So open this one up by pressing enter. So as we can see, very awesome stuff, and that is literally my first true gameplay I played of a Spectrum Next game, and I can say for sure it's a lot like a Super Nintendo game, probably a lot classier actually. So what we're going to do next then is actually mount that image, that 16 GB image, and we're going to use that tool which we downloaded earlier on today in this video. So mount image file, and just press yes on this part, publisher to make changes to your device, press yes on this. And what we're going to do now is search for that 16 GB image. So if I go over to these three dots just here, just left click on there, and from here we can then look for that 16 GB image, which is of course in that cspect folder. So I'm going to go in my cspect folder just here, and I'm going to look for that image. And here it is right at the bottom. So TBBlue.img, just double left click on this one. And as we can see, this is now mounted. And finally on this, I'm going to just put this one down to drive letter L. Okay, we've also got the option here of mounting this automatically at Windows Startup. So if you want to do that, then just obviously check it. But I'm going to leave this one unchecked. And simply now just press OK. And here we go. We're actually in the image itself. And let's actually confirm this is mounted into Windows. So I'm going to go to this PC, and as we can see, this is now acting like it's got a real SD card inserted. And here we go, brilliant stuff. Okay, so we can now start copying stuff into this image. So if you want to copy some games in here, just go into the games folder and just select which system it is you want to import games for, or rather put them on the SD card. So for example, I want to put a few Next games on here, which I'm going to show you a really good website limit to use to try some games out on the Next. So just go into Next folder, and as we seen a minute ago, when I had the cspect emulator running, this is all the games just here. And for Next games, if we go into each one of these, you're going to find different files. So .bas are the game files you need to run within the emulator, and something else which I was just playing, which was Warhawk, we got a .next here. So what we're going to do then is head over to itch.io, which is a great website. And this website is pretty much built for developers creating games such as C64 games, ZX Spectrum games. There's some on there you need to pay for and some not. So we're going to just check out Bombjack. Now, to my knowledge, this is some sort of remake which is recently been uploaded to this website. And I'm going to go to download bombjack.rar and check this one out. So we got it just here. It's been downloaded. Now, again, we need to create a folder. I'm going to place all of this into a folder. So I'm going to create folder on my desktop, new folder, and I'm going to call this one Bombjack. And what I'm going to do next is copy these contents into that Bombjack folder I've just created. Now, what we can do is just drag this one inside of that tool, which is holding, or rather mounting, that 16 GB image. And here we go. So Bombjack is now inside, and as we can see, it's got its contents. So now we've copied games over, or whatever you're going to be putting onto that 16 GB image like I've just done. We need to unmount it. So we're going to go back into this PC. If we right click on it, and we need to unmount this. So show more options, and unmount IM disk virtual disk. And just press yes if you get a little pop-up. And I'm going to just press OK on this. So next, what we're going to do is open up cspect again. So we're going to open up nextos.bat again, double left click. And here we go. So let's check out if that game I've just transferred is actually appearing inside of here. So browser, down to games, and next. And Bombjack, as you can see, is located right at the bottom. So we're going to press enter to go in there. And we're going to open this one by just pressing enter on bombjack.nex. So specnext.com, and under resources, you'll find software library. And just here, it's a lot of different games which people's uploaded, which we can check out for free. And just like yourself, if you've not checked out ZX Spectrum Next games yet, I think you're going to be in for a treat judging from what I was just playing. There certainly is some great games coming out and has come out for this platform. So you've got that resource, but other games really are going to be on itch.io. And there's one game I do want to recommend, and I've not actually played this one myself for the ZX Spectrum Next. This is Aliens Neoplasma. So here's Aliens Neoplasma. And if we go to download now, you can either provide some money for the developers behind this game or no thanks. And I'm going to download Neoplasma. And here we go. So we got two versions of this. We got 128K version or the next version. So if I just go inside of here, and it's going to be the same process. So if I right click on my desktop, create a new folder, and I'm going to call this one Alien Neoplasma. And again, just like Bombjack, just drag all these contents into that folder. And we can then mount image file again, image file, and we're going to mount that same 16 gigabyte image, the TBBlue.img. And I'm also going to change this one to L once again and press OK. And here we go. We're now back into this virtual SD card, as it were. So again, I'm going to go to Games, Next, and drag that Alien Neoplasma inside. And now it's just a case of unmounting that image again. If we boot up cspect, it won't boot up while this is mounted. So just unmount it, show more options, and we're going to go to unmount imdisk virtual disk. And that's now unmounted. And if we quickly go back into cspect and open it up once again, so nextos.bat. And here we go. So remember cursor keys to move this around browser. And we're going to go down to Games, Next, and Alien Neoplasma right at the bottom. And we're going to go for the English version of this. So if you're playing this, just be sure you choose the correct language. You've got N for English, RU for Russian, so on. So here we go. So that's it for today's cspect and ZX Spectrum Next emulator setup guide. As you can see, this is a really, really cool platform to be playing some of the latest games on too. So like I said at the start of the video, if you like what you've seen today, hit notifications, subscribe and like so you don't miss upcoming retro emulation content here on my channel, Just Jamie. Be sure to check me out on social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. And I'm also asking for donations at the moment to support my channel. So I've got PayPal option, donate, and I've also got super thanks. But anyways, until next time, stay retro.